maybe kind of holding whatever. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the most dangerous show of the week.
We haven't done one of these in a while, and
No.
I was gonna put something on that was more exciting than just my t-shirt. Hi, welcome to the VSC of the Sun Dragon Sideshow.
The virtual shopping channel.
Keep dropping into quiet sister mode.
Sorry.
Did you see the comment? It's really, there's nothing wrong with it. I think our microphone's good enough. It's just me. Did you see the comment that someone who watches us, they think you're saying, and I'm Liz and I'm a millionaire instead of the minion.
I'm a minion.
Or that's what shout out to, and I'm forgetting who posted that, but usually my brain's better than that. That's what they want to hear. Like, yeah.
I'm
anyway.
not a millionaire. I am nowhere close to
Look,
it.
there's a sticky on the back of this. Has more sticky on it than this does. I want to put on something a little bit prettier than this. Maybe I'll put on the figuring weight since what?
You have one skein sock yarn shawls.
I was going to put on a whole top, but I'll put on a shawl. I can cover up my name tag for this. Y'all know who I am, right? Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in sunnier than it was at my house this morning, and probably not going to rain, Brevard, North Carolina.
I'm Liz. I'm the minion there.
I'm getting a shawl.
I know. It's supposed to be a little bit warmer than yesterday. And tomorrow is supposed to.
the 60s. Was it in the 60s yesterday?
Yesterday it was like 69 79 was the official high. Today is going to be like 82. And then tomorrow is going to be hellfire.
I like the one skein shawls. They're fun to just dress stuff up. I need to, yes, she said hellfire. I'm just blasting right past that. I need to take my Huasco cotton that is never going to be finished and find a different shawl to make out of it and make something out of it for summer, because this is a little hot for when it's hotter out. Anyway, neither here nor there for what we're going to do on today's show. And I think that, that yarn is either at home or buried under the table somewhere. Oh, I see.
As we both look down under the table.
I see an old project bag under there. If there's time at the end, I'll check. And if not, I'll check when I'm off camera. Now I'm thinking about starting another project, and I really shouldn't. I have so many projects going. Okay, back on track. So we haven't done one of these in like 3 weeks.
I know.
Stop mocking me. No, she's just laughing at me. It's okay. Yes.
We both keep thinking about, I keep thinking about starting a new project and then sewing dresses. And last night I was thinking about starting a new project and then didn't. And
when you finished your thought,
go ahead.
Can you please show everyone your dress today? Because some people are enjoying this. I like the little lacy under things that looks like it's part of it. Yes, but it looks like it's part of the dress, which is super. She gets layering like to the nth degree in terms of it all looks composed and put together.
Had another layer under here, but because of the temperature, I was like, I'm going to die.
You could take it off when you start dying.
Oh, I was already dying before I left the house. So I was like, yeah, you get.
It's all delicate. You're like, oh, look, she's got blue pants underneath. It's all delicate and flowery and stuff.
This is my French country, whatever, I don't know.
And it probably doesn't show up on camera, but the cream beigey color kind of like is lighter and darker in places. Yeah,
it's like a creamy version of fiber spates with the whole
tonal is what we call that. Okay, so yeah, so in preparation for our sock knit along, that I'm still narrowing down exactly what patterns we're going to use for this sock knit along. But in June, which is in just under 2 weeks, right? I think June 1st actually might be 2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today.
So we hope to, just like the ranunculus kicked off in April, and the Echo Point shawl kicked off in January. So we hope at the beginning of June to do a sock knit along.
I just had an apostrophe because I'm not participating in the socks, but I have a crap ton of sock yarn, so I might
do a sock ranunculus.
Yeah, actually.
Okay, how many you already have a sock ranunculus or a fingering weight?
That's tweed. It doesn't have the sock content.
We should back up and talk about that in just a second. So are you gonna do it out of like a self-patterning yarn, or
I started an Il Grande Favorito out of a self-patterning Norwegian print.
I remember that. The red and black and favorite colors.
And I bought like the whole bag, and it'll only take like 2 balls. So I think I can
okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes, not everyone is excited about the sock knit along. Exhibit A. Not everyone makes socks. That's okay. Some people are super excited about it. I'm in the middle somewhere because I feel a lot of pressure about what patterns are we doing, and giving everyone the freedom to like maybe have flexibility with what they're doing. But you can pick whatever pattern you want. But for some reason, people want me to have set patterns in mind. So I'm still working on that.
The concept of our sock knit along isn't like the ranunculus. It's like, hey, everybody makes socks. Like,
and
we're just going to make socks together.
The thing with socks is like the version, like the ranunculus was one pattern where you could pick and so many different fibers and weights and whatever and make it, and they'll all look different. The thing about socks is, yes, one pattern, if you pick a different self-patterning yarn, or if you pick a hand dyed, or if you pick, it's fantastic in that you could do the same pattern over and over and over again with a different dye or a different something, and they'll look a little different. But it's more fun. There's so many options for how to make a sock.
And for people who've made a sock, everybody's got their favorite way. So like, there's no way for us to, if we were like to pick one pattern,
it's true.
People would be like, but I don't do my socks like that.
Yeah. Or this is the one you have to use. Yeah. So, the genesis behind the sock knit along. So there are some people that have knit a million socks and that's all they knit, and they're really super excited by it. And some people are intimidated to try it. This is geared towards the patterns I pick. My short list, and then like I put out my newsletter, and there's a copy on social media with my short list, which is like maybe a dozen patterns. I'm hoping to pick only 3 or 4 for the actual knit along, but you're not limited to that. The idea for these 3 or 4 are more geared towards people who haven't knit socks before and want to try, or want to try a new method and don't necessarily want something super complicated. So, and I might have to say this again on a non-VSC day, because some people don't watch the VSC, and that's okay. So if I sound like a broken record in the next 2 weeks, that's why. But for those of you who are like, I've already made a million socks, why would I want to do this pattern? You don't have to. Pick any sock pattern you want. There was one that was just published for May the 4th, the whole Star Wars, May the 4th be with you, the force be with you. That it was like Red 5 standing by is the name of the sock, and it looks like little X-wings on your socks, and that's so cool. It may not be what a beginner wants to do, but a beginner could go, why not? Kathleen
told me she's going to do Superman socks. It's socks, and then you knit a cape that attaches to.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. It's so cute. Oh my gosh, we don't have a pattern for that. There probably is a pattern for that. We'll have to talk to Kathleen. Or she's making it up, and that's so cool. So anyway, backing up a little bit. If you so you can pick any pattern you want. If you're already a sock knitter, or you want something more challenging, go pick an awesome sock pattern. Look on Ravelry, there are tons. I will hopefully be releasing my actual short list next week, but I'm stressing out about this a little bit. I'll come back to that another time. Y'all don't need to hear me go on about that, but I'm stressing out a little bit over what to pick. I'll get back to it. So, but 2 things about one basic and one fun thing about sock knitting. So conventional wisdom is socks are usually knit out of fingering weight yarn, nice thin yarn. They don't have to be, but they usually are. And sock content. So there's tons of fingering weight yarns out there, and there are tons of wool fingering weights. Sock content usually involves a washable wool of some kind and a blend with something like nylon or silk or something else to give it a little more strength, a little more stretchy or flexibility, something to keep the structure over time is the idea. Like you can knit socks out of just plain wool. Hand wash those suckers if it's just plain wool, but and you can knit socks out of, say, superwash merino. That's 100% superwash merino. But devoted sock knitters, and again, I remember I said there's people who do nothing but socks and people who haven't tried it yet. I'm in the middle somewhere. I know a lot of conventional wisdom, and I've knit like 1 or 2 pairs of socks. I'm not a sock expert, so I will probably say things that sock experts will disagree with. Remember, most of the time that we are talking about things on this show, it's our opinion or our experience, and other people may disagree with us. There's what you're saying, the pirate code, it's more about guidelines than fixed, you have to. But there are definitely people out there who say you have to. And we're not them, but we'll give you guidelines. So sock content, the most classic, and we've had people asking really specific ratios lately, which, you know, again, I'm not as well versed in. It's usually something like 75% superwash merino to 25% nylon, and some are 80-20. We've had some people insisting on 80-20 when they walk into our shop, and some people insisting on 75-25. So those are people who know that there's a difference and how it feels on their feet. I couldn't tell you.
There's also people who put reinforcing threads, and we don't carry those. So if you're one of those people, you know where to find it, or
we don't carry the reinforcing thread. Like we take the nylon. If it usually provides a little more stability and flex and wear, so your heels don't sag and hopefully won't wear out as fast, that kind of thing. Like help you keep the shape of the sock longer over time. And you're gonna hear different things from different people, especially if you Google search or YouTube search about socks, about making it out of machine washable, like superwash wool or merino, which is just a fancy wool that's a little softer. Some people will say, sure, throw it in the washing machine. And some people will say, no, you should still hand wash it if you want the colors to last, or if you want, you're going to have different opinions. Should you wash it with your regular, all your other wash, which is what I've done with one of my hand dyed pairs of socks, and the colors have faded. And is that because it's being washed with regular detergent? I don't know. Probably. I don't know. I'm lazy. I'm not lazy at knitting a whole bunch of beautiful creative things, but then caring for it, I'm lazy. So anyway, all of that is aside type stuff. I just thought of something we can put on sale next week. I'll talk to you about it. Okay. Sock related things. So the second thing I was going to talk about, something that's more fun, you can knit socks out of anything you want, basically. How warm or the wear, you know, again, traditionally it will be superwash merino and nylon or silk or something else in there to give it some structure. And so you can do like your favorite hand dye, you know, you can do it with just a solid. There's all kinds of options and all kinds of price ranges. One of the things I think is more fun, and the yarn that's actually designed for socks, you can use it for other stuff, but it's designed for sock knitting, is self-patterning sock yarn. And we have a few of those in the shop. Those are ones that will either stripe or look like you did some crazy Fair Isle, or you look like you did more work than you did. And people who don't know it exists will say, wow, that looks so complicated. What'd you do?
We call it the Rice Krispie treat.
Yes.
Yarn. Because
anyone our generation and maybe older, the ads back in like, what was it, the 80s or 90s probably?
90s, I think.
Where the wife would like, and again, some of this is very stereotypical and whatever, but she'd get time off in the kitchen, and while all this chaos is going on around her and she's like reading a book or watching TV or something, and then when the Rice Krispie treats are ready, she like puffs some flour in her face and goes, which she goes out the door like
I'll go
she
make more Rice
slays.
Krispie treats and
Yeah,
break the book.
I'll go make more. She gets a break from her family because they're so easy to make. So it's like you knit, you still put work into these, but it looks like you did twice as much work because the yarn does cool things. And we've had a lot of people recently who've come into the shop wanting like self-patterning yarn that makes shapes and animals, and that's really complicated. This is complicated enough what this does to make it kind of look like you did a Fair Isle pattern, but really kind of a sketch Fair Isle pattern, but it's just cute. When yarn it's complicated to dye any of this. And so often there'll be a limited run of a color, and once it's gone because it's hard to produce it again. So one dye lot is all you're going to find of it. And to make it, so I've seen one where it's like sheep with a rainbow background and it's all supposed to be in one ball of yarn.
I've seen mushrooms and pizza
and those you have to get your gauge so precise or else they're going to look like this, and we don't carry any of that in the shop.
Most of that is super indie dyed,
and probably very expensive because of that. And if it's not, there's the quality of the yarn may not be great to offset how technically challenging it is to dye that. Like maybe it's machine dyed, but it's not on fancy yarn because it's just, we don't carry that specifically. What we do carry, and we can start with the heritage, Cascade Heritage Prints. There's a story here because Cascade Heritage Prints, it's the heritage sock yarn. We have a lot of solids in it, but it will look like it does a stripy, like you can kind of see that on the side there, a stripy self-patterning fun thing. And most 100-gram fingering weight sock yarns, there's enough in there for an average size pair of socks, like the whole pair. By average size, I mean not too huge feet. I would say, I don't know,
too long,
and not too long a cuff. If you want a cuff that's maybe only as long as the foot, and we're talking about maybe a size 7 or 8 shoe for a woman, you should have enough. If you're going for a much bigger foot, you might need 2. But for a lot of people, if you don't want high cuffs, you might be able to get a bigger foot with like ankle socks out of one skein. So plan accordingly if you have above the average size foot, or if you want a higher cuff, you might need more than one skein. But these are just fun because it looks like it's striped and a little bit of every other stitch every once in a while having different colors as you knit. So you're straight knitting, but you get a patterned look out of it. And we have limited quantities of these left because Heritage, Cascade, for a couple years now, we haven't reordered in a while, but we went back to reorder and like all the self-patterning on this level of complication is gone. And I talked to the company and they shifted to, I'm going to show you a couple of the more stripy ones. They shifted to stripy and a little more speckly or kind of a mottled look because that they were just trying to change up because everybody else had self-patterning and now it's really hard for me to find self-patterning anywhere. They might be going back to it next year, which doesn't help us for the knit along. So we are putting the self-patterning, more what they call jacquard examples. We're putting them on sale this week. Scarf them up while we have them. And once they're gone, unfortunately, we can get stripies in. So long story long, Liz, read us some stats.
So Heritage Prints Cascade is 75 superwash merino and 25% nylon sock content. You get 437 yards per 100 grams. It's a standard fingering weight sock content yardage. They're recommending a US 1 to a 3 needle. Needle size will also affect how much sock you get out of it.
I like the smaller the needle, the better for a tighter mesh. It'll hold up longer, but you use up more yarn. It's true.
For crochet, they're recommending a C to an E hook. So if you're like, hey, I want to either crochet socks, or
if you want to crochet socks, this will not self-pattern as neatly as it's meant to do for knitting. It will still look cool. We have seen crocheted socks out of this. Crochet eats up more yarn. So make ankle socks or buy 2, and look for a good pattern online.
Yeah.
If you're going to crochet socks, know that they will be thicker no matter what, because crochet has a thicker quality than knitting. I don't have a good recommendation because I haven't tried that yet, but let's go over some colors and then let's switch to the other stuff we're doing this week.
Before we do that, we're retailing them for $13.75, 15% off this week.
Cool. 15% off with the code product of the week with spaces between the words once they're up in the product of the week category. And I think a lot of these are already up. It's the other yarn we're going to talk, the new one, the new colors. I'm going to have to put those up. And the other yarn I'm going to talk about, I'm going to have to put that up. So it'll probably be later today. Although when I say later today, I mean later relative to when we're filming, not to when you're viewing it, because it takes a while to get this video up. But this is Mod, M-O-D, color 89. And it's got blues and oranges and teals and like light taupees and grays. It's fun. Some of these I think I have color swatches up for, and some of them I don't know if I'll be able to put color swatches up for. It's a little complicated to get all that online, but fun, bright range of colors.
This one is Boston, and I know we have multiple skeins of Boston. It is red, blue, gray, white.
It's like because we have one that's called Independence over there. I think we have like one skein that's like red, white, and blue. This, once they discontinued that one, the closest we could get, Boston is like red, white, and blue, but a little bit of gray and stuff in it too. So it's kind of patriotic with a little bit of the grittiness of Boston, you know.
And then Denver is another one that's really close, but it's like a stone washed almost version of, they're really similar.
And Denver has orange in it.
Yes.
So and lighter blue.
It's an orangey red almost.
I see spots of that. That's just orange though.
That's just orange.
Personally.
Yeah.
So it's a redder side of orange, but you know, I feel like there's some kind of Denver team that probably has some orange going on in it. Like they do sports teams. Like Boston is probably supposed to be the Patriots.
Yeah.
They do, like their Seattle was about Seattle Seahawks, and we're out of that, unfortunately. You're making a mess, man. So some of these are older and some of these are newer. Like these are some older ones. Roses, number 31. We don't have much of this one left. It is different shades of reds and pinks and white. And see, there's the little thing. A lot of self-patterning yarn will try to have a swatch of how it knits up, just to try to let you know. This one is Stormy Sea, and it's a bunch of blues and teals and grays, which I think is really cute. So but
this is Fiesta.
I really like the Fiesta one. That's the Fiesta is close to Mod, but not quite.
It's
like it's lighter
muted.
It's got more aquas than teals, but it's got some greens and some yellows and oranges, and it's just fun.
Blues.
I like it.
Yeah. And then this one is Mod. It is,
but this one's Mod,
or not Mod. Sorry, this one's Prep.
I'm like, that's like the dark broody version of Mod.
Yeah,
but
Prep? It's Prep.
I don't know where they got some of these names.
It's like goldy mustard yellow.
It's like this with a dark filter on it, right? Because
it's got the teals, it's got reds, it's got grays,
it's got
and a
dark
couple
taupes
shades.
And stuff.
Yeah.
It's like if this like that's they're all kind of ranges on it, on bright, medium, dark.
Yeah.
So this one's fun because it's just teals. It's azul. It's really just blues and teals and a little bit of like purplies, but it's all tones of that family. So that's fun. Probably can't see that from this far away. Good.
This one is Holidays DAZE stripe.
And that's one of the stripy ones. Now they're all stripy. So that doesn't have the self-patterning like little flecks. Like if you look at this one, there's little flecks of color in here where it might look like different stitches or different colors right in a row.
Dashes.
The stripy ones, you won't have that. And two of the ones we have here don't say stripe on them, but they do that. And I'll talk about those in a second. But that one's Christmas colors.
Yep. It's different shades
greens.
of reds and different shades of greens.
So if I can, I'll try to put in parentheses the ones that are just stripy versus the ones that are jacquard. I'll identify the stripy ones. And if it doesn't say stripe and I don't put stripe in parentheses on the listing, it's implied that it's more of a jacquard thing with the individual stitches. Those two are
Then we
individual.
have flames. It's different shades of yellows and oranges and
And a little bit of red.
reds.
Yeah. So like this is all blues, the cooler side of the rainbows, kind of, and that's all the warmer stuff. Neither one has green.
No.
So
And then we have mermaid,
mermaid's pretty too.
and it's greens and blues and teals and pinks.
That one is like the mass produced, almost the mass produced version of what we have. That's hand dyed. That would also work for socks, but is not on sale this week. We'll talk about that later. Not today. So the two here, I'll give you that one.
Ooh,
The two new, I knew the two new ones we just brought in, they just literally arrived yesterday, are from the newest series that is just stripy. Like this just says color number 118 on it. I know there's a different name for it. Hang on, let me go get this one is different shades of pinks and grays, and it's just stripy. And I want to find I think there's an actual name for this, and I want to see if it's over on my inventory list that came with the package. You talk about that one.
This one's color 117, and it has light greens, darker blues, reds, and yellow.
It's almost like the old dissonance they had.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Ooh, there are full-blown names that they just didn't put on the. Why didn't they put it on the
They
tag?
don't ever put them on the tag.
So
We put them on the tag.
Okay, this one that's 118 is Pink Cloud Stripe. Makes sense.
Makes
That
sense.
one is Sulphur Lake Stripe. So they will have stripe in the title. If it says stripe in the title, it doesn't have the little flecks, the little stitches. It has just stripes of color of varying thicknesses. It's not a regular stripy thing. It's a irregular stripe. Take a look at that. But it'll be fun. Don't have to change colors as you go.
Nope.
Someone thinks you had like 6 colors in your socks. You knit with 1 yarn. Yay. Okay. So y'all don't need to look at that. That's just boring white paper. Okay. So that's already up online, and we're going to add the new colors. Another yarn I'd like to try putting online is the Online, which is a German company that we get through Knitting Fever, has some crazy self-patterning. They do these limited runs. You have to buy the whole batch, and when you run out, there's usually no more. And this one, Liz is about to read stats on it, but it's cool because it's got like silk. This one has silk in it and bamboo, I think.
Yes.
I think the viscose is actually bamboo, maybe.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So
Bamboo silk color is what it's called.
bamboo silk color. It is 420
Supersocke, by the way.
meters.
With an E. Go ahead. Sorry.
420 meters per 100 grams. So it's actually more than the 437.
Because meters, what, 430 you said?
420.
420 meters. Add about 10% to get you to the yardage. So that's about 462 yards or so.
Yeah.
So, okay, go ahead.
It is 35% wool, 30% viscose from bamboo, 25% polyamide, and 10% silk.
And that polyamide is like the equivalent of a nylon, of a synthetic that's going to help the socks hold up. And the silk's going to actually help it hold up too and help it be a little warmer. So it's got some plant fiber and some silk and some wool. All of that's going to make lovely soft socks. Yes.
They are calling for a 2.5 to a 3 millimeter needle.
Which is about, I mean, a 3 millimeter is the upper end of what you want to use for socks. All of the balls have this little picture on them of how the different colors knit up, which is really hard to see. But they do a self-patterning thing with the jiggy joggy stitches of different colors and all that kind of stuff. And we have limited quantities of any of these, and they just have numbers, which is kind of annoying. What are we retailing this for?
1925.
1925, 15% off this week with the code product of the week. What I'll try to do when I put these up online is I will try to, we have a poster of the colors that I can try to take a photo of that's a little clearer than this little teeny tiny thing here. And you'll just have to look for your color to see how it knits up. So what number is that one?
This one is 2441, and it's all blues.
It's all blues and tealies and a little bit of grays and
grays.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's super cute. Super, super cute. This one is 2442 and it has blues and greens and it's kind of foresty and it's a little muted, right? I'll give you that one and I'll grab this one.
You keep finding my favorite colors.
I'm kind of half thinking that when I check them at you, and I'm also thinking we're wasting time. So I check one at you. So what you got?
This one is 2439 and it is all grays from light to like charcoal.
That's nice. Yes. This one is 2444 and it is more pastel. It's not super light pastel.
It looks
But
like a bowl of sherbet.
It's sherbet. Yeah. It's still got the grays in it. A lot of these have some kind of gray for the self patterning part in it, like a taupey and a charcoal. But then the other colors, we've got almost like a mint green and a yellow green, but a cool yellow green and coral and pink. That's fun. I like that. Let's give you this one.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going with mine then. 2445 is like raspberries and more of it's a brighter than lavender purple, but there's some lavender hints in that. This one, it's got the charcoal with something lighter, but the lighter thing is like a lavender rather than just a light gray. So we got pinks and purples. What you got?
This one is 2446. It is browns, but like a reddy brown. There's red in there. There's orange. There's a light purple.
It's not quite the lavender purple. It's more almost a light eggplant or something.
Either eggplant, but there's a little berry to it.
Yes. Hard to identify colors.
The little dashes are gray or a darker gray.
Yep. I'll give you this one.
Okay.
All of the dashes of the charcoal with something lighter or something that complements the yarn. Like this one is green, but yeah.
This one is 2440. It is denim blues, darker denim blues, lighter denim blues, browns, and you get a couple of sets of dashes. You get both the brown dashes and you get the charcoal dashes.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's actually really cool.
So if you want one that's got a little bit of plant fiber in it, maybe breathes in a different way, but still is warm for the warmer weather, this could be the one for you. The last thing we're going to do is, I thought this is fun. We've had these in the shop for a while. These are SoxMarx stitch marker sets. And the whole point of these, they're made for teeny tiny needles. And the whole point, do you see how, and I'm trying to speak up because the microphone's behind me. Each stitch marker has a different number of beads on it. And the idea is to help, if you're knitting, like you see the picture, it's got double point needles on it. It's oftentimes when you're using double points, and that's not the only way to make socks, but if you're using double points for socks, trying to keep track of where the beginning of your row is, you might only put one stitch marker on the first one, but this one you can count 1, 2, 3, up to 4 by the number of beads on it. So you know where you are on your row for sock knitting. I think it's a super cute idea. Again, most people will put stitch markers of any kind if they're marking needles, 1 stitch inside the edge of your needle, because unless you're using stitch stoppers on every single needle, if you put it at the beginning, it'll fall off. You put it 1 stitch in. So my first needle will have a dangly with only 1 bead, and my second needle will have a dangly with 2 beads, and my third will have 3 beads. I usually only use 3, but this has, if you want to do 4, and 4 double points can work if you're trying to split like front and back of your sock and then divide those down, then you can potentially use 4. It depends on how cumbersome that is for you.
Also, when you're making fingerless mitts or something that
anything with thin yarn, with little teeny tiny needles, this will be fantastic for. I don't know what size this works up to, but I'm imagining it doesn't.
I'd say it probably goes up to a 6 or 7.
Yeah. They're small, but I bet they can fit on slightly larger needles. So these are retailing for $9.50, and we have different color beads. We have a limited supply of these.
What color do you have?
I have ruby here, and ruby is they're kind of pink and orange. The ruby ones are pink and orange. What do you have?
I have root beer, and it's kind of a brownie purple. Oops.
And are yours, it's going to be really hard to show on camera here, but
Yeah.
go look at the listing. I'll try to get colors as clear as I can. These are shiny.
Those are
These are
matte.
more matte. The root beer ones are more matte.
This one is peacock, and it's that blue and green modeled, and they're matte. They're not shiny.
And this one's purple, and it's purple and green. It's really close to the peacock, but it's matte. It's a little different.
These ones are blue, and they're shiny, so it kind of is a blue with the
There's a little bit of purple.
Iridescent.
The shiny
so
ones,
the
I was about to
shiny.
say, the iridescent ones are kind of, are a little, like the shiny ones are kind of iridescent. We
Yep.
have two of those. We have the ruby and we have the blue. And then we have the matte ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5. And I think they're super, super cute, and they tend to get overlooked because they're so small. So we'll put them up online and see if you'd like to get them for 15% off with the code product of the week. So we should go. It's almost time for the shop to open. I feel like this one actually was a little longer than some of our VSCs have been lately because I went off on some tangents.
We got into the shop early as well, and
Kind of. I
well,
got in earlier than expected, but I also had to wait for the recycling people to open up my parking space. I could have been earlier.
but we haven't filmed this long in like 3 weeks.
I know, it's been so sad. Sorry, guys. Sorry to everyone out there, but we're trying. So we'll be back tomorrow with Dear Becky and Lizzy. And if you have any questions you'd like us to ponder upon and give you our thoughts upon, at this point, you should email
Liz@sundragonartandfiber.com.
And we have one question for tomorrow so far, right?
Yeah.
And after that, we will just talk about socks maybe, or ranunculate or something. Okay, we gotta go. Bye. Socks. Yeah. I'm excited to learn more about socks because I haven't made enough. So
I've dabbled. I'm done.